We can't see your face. Wait. We can't see his whole face. We can't see his whole face.
Go ahead, Harry.
My name is Harry Chia, and I am 6 years old, and I'm going to the first grade.
Welcome to the
And welcome to the virtual reading fair, day 9.
Very good, Harry. Okay, I'm Meredith McGee. I'm the chair of Community Library Mississippi, and Harry, 6-year-old, who's going to the first grade, is our facilitator today. He has stepped up and he has a leadership role. Thank you. Everybody's gonna introduce themselves, and Harry's gonna take it away. All right, leader, young leader, thank you. Okay, everybody else be introduced.
I'm William.
Okay, well, I'm Lynette Stafford in Greenville, Mississippi, and I like to say happy birthday to Miss Meredith.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, who's next?
I'm William Fresh, Jr., author of Reverse Guilty Plea in the New Populist Party. I live in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes, good morning. I'm Vicki Jenkins, and I'm the co-chairperson of the Community Library of Mississippi. And I welcome everybody to the community fair. Excuse me. I welcome everybody to the virtual reading fair.
Good morning. I am Dr. Janice Neal Vincent, retired university professor and performance artist. Happy to be back today.
That's everybody, Harry.
Harry, are we ready to get started?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Who's reading first?
I can go ahead and read. I'm expecting an important phone call.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Bernie Sanders' book called Political Revolution. The young people of this country are, of course, the future of America, and that bodes well for us. It is my observation that the current generation of young people is the smartest, most idealistic, and least prejudiced generation in the modern history of the United States. This is a generation that is prepared to think big and move this country in a very different direction than we've been traveling for years. It is especially prepared to reject the value system espoused by Donald Trump and the right-wing reactionaries in Congress who support his ideas. The basic thesis of this book is pretty simple. It is that on major issue after major issue, the vast majority of Americans support a progressive agenda and widely reject the economic views of the Republican Party. Go into any community in this country, including the most conservative states, and you'll not find many people who think that it makes sense to give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 1%, while at the same time cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, education, and health care. You will not find many people who think climate change is a hoax. But those who are the ideas that President Trump and most of the Republican leadership in Congress support. On the other hand, most Americans believe it is imperative that we raise the minimum wage to a living wage, that we guarantee pay equity for women, that we join the rest of the world in guaranteeing paid family and medical leave. American people understand that health care is a right for all and not a privilege, and that in a competitive global economy, we must make colleges and universities tuition free. They want us to create millions of good paying jobs by rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and by investing in sustainable energy and affordable housing. American people know that in the midst of massive wealth and income inequality, the very rich have got to start paying their fair share of taxes. We desperately need reforms of our broken immigration and criminal justice systems. They understand that women must have the right to control their own bodies, that we must aggressively combat racism, sexism, and homophobia. That is not Bernie Sanders talking. That's what poll after poll shows the American people want. Well, you might ask, if that is true, then why do Republicans now control the White House, the Senate, and almost 2/3 of the governor's offices throughout the country? Or are they in complete control of the governorship, the state houses, the state senates, and half the states? Great question. That is what my book is all about. In my view, if we were to successfully address the enormous problems now facing our country and planet, we need to understand that democracy is not a spectator sport. We can no longer sit back and allow ourselves to be have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. We can no longer allow the wealthy and their campaign to determine the future of our government. Move forward to revitalize American democracy and bring millions of young people and working people into an unstoppable political movement that fights for a government that represents all of us and not just the billionaire class. And that's what I'm seeing in communities across the country. About the billions of people are taking the streets in opposition to Trump's reactionary agenda. They're standing up for health care, for women's rights, for the environment, and to protect Social Security and retirement benefits. They're fighting to make college affordable with decent wages and working conditions for American workers. They're also starting to run for political office. Sometimes it's a local school board or city council or mayor's office. Sometimes it's the state house. Sometimes it's for the U.S. or House or Senate. The momentum must continue and it must expand. This is your country. Help us take it back, join the political revolution.
So as Bernie Sanders speaks in terms of equality, and he has talked repeatedly about the free schools, the community colleges, university, etc. What is your opinion about all of that?
I believe college education is too expensive, and they need to have debt forgiveness for student loans, and they need to look at having tuition-free education and get it where poor and middle-class people can afford a college education.
Okay, because I keep thinking of all these years about America being the melting pot. I've not heard that particular phrase in ages, the melting pot.
Yeah.
Something changed in the political world regarding that. I just can't even remember when the last time it was that I heard that. So many acts of people have taken us away from that with the focus on push the immigrants away. Don't let them come in, push them away. So I don't even remember when the melting pot stopped, let alone the Statue of Liberty, speaking about bringing the tired, the poor, the huddled masses. My point is, here we are in a great crisis, health-wise. People can't even go out to a job. Many cannot. And then we are still depending on the backs of the people America continues to take advantage of. the necessary workers, the essential workers, they are calling them now. But there is no thrust on the part of this administration in place to get rid of that. So what, from what you have read, what is Bernie Sanders summing all of that up to be?
Bringing government back to where the people have a say in it.
Okay. Yes, because the people have been taken out of so many things, including the CDC now. Dr. Fauci has been severely challenged in terms of credibility. Just one example of late. So much is happening. And that's why this protesting, in my opinion, should continue.
Yeah, the people have to express their rights and opinions. The only way to do it is through protesting. And my book, The New Populist Party, is along the lines of Bernie Sanders' book to recommend some of the similar things.
Okay. Give me the title of your book again.
The New
Title of
Populist
your
Party.
book. Okay. Can you send it through the chat? Send the title of your book through the
It's called The New Populist Party. I got
Thank
a
you.
copy of it right here. I can show it. Yeah, I can show it to you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's in Stanford and Princeton.
Okay.
To comment about the like why I make a comment on the melting pot. I remember somebody saying we'll sell it bowl. And I kind of like that better because I think, in my opinion, we say melting pot, it means we want us all to be the same. We are all basically the same. We're human beings with feelings and experiences and things. But I like the salad bowl part because we all stand out. Because we're all basically the same. We all have differences, or with different cultures, different upbringings, different experiences. So I kind of like that too. And it just, from what I'm hearing about, what you're reading, William, like you had the grassroots, you're talking about the people who were born and don't have to worry about, they never had to worry about if their light bills could get paid, how to pay their bills, how they're going to pay the child care, how they're going to buy groceries. And those are regular everyday people, things start from grassroots. And that's other people to me. Now, I'm not saying people who have advantages don't have understanding, but if you've never gone through some things, you don't understand some things. You can read about some things, but it's nothing like feeling it and seeing it and going through it for yourself. So I think that's probably a lot of the appeal that Bernie has for what we call regular people.
Yeah. I think the Democratic platform will be moved for a more progressive platform since all the latest stuff has happened,
Well, given the state of affairs at the present time, the Democratic Party is going to be up up on a higher scale, because the quote unquote president is really handling the affairs in such a terrible way. And so the Democratic Party is going to be on an upswing. So now, given the situation, and there are a lot of different activities that are the downfall of all of our people. Like you say, if you've never been through it, you don't know it. So you can't really actually explain or comment. There is no cure, no solution or anything, because it all falls upon our shoulders. But as I say, our shoulders on the black culture shoulders, on the black, because if you don't know, you don't know. And you cannot explain or create or solve anything if you just don't know and never experienced it.
that's true. And that's why Dr. King said, if you want to know about the ghetto, go live in the ghetto. And now since we are all here by many years in America, many have come and gone, and these same injustices as well as others continue in terms of inequality. No one is better than the other. And all of the lies
Right.
through his story have to be challenged. And they must be challenged by the people who have been inflicted by the lies, not to accept the lies. So this is the day and age, as I see it, where God is exposing so much to all of us to let us know that we are responsible to our brother and sister. We are responsible. We are responsible. And we are responsible to him for doing the right thing. I don't have to accept something that has been going on down through the centuries when I have lived that something in terms of what has not been dealt fairly for me and my people. I may not know all of my people, many of them across generations, even around me, but I have felt the stench of oppression. And that is what we must continue to challenge as citizens in society, even if it's done by folks within the race. Somebody talked about the ESPYs the other day. Even if it's done by somebody in the race, I'm in power, but I'm just a yes person, or I'm doing my own thing at the expense of the people. That too is not right. So we have to speak up. We have to challenge. We have to walk up. We have to jog up. We have to run up. We have to write about it. We have to talk about it. We have to do something about that. Even when I look down at the museums and there's no walkway in the plan for the Smith Robertson Museum, how is that going to help people? That's a significant museum in terms of our culture, and it's linked to the rest of the culture. So I'm going to walk over to the Civil Rights Museum on the walkway, but then there's nothing to trail me down High Street back over the other way. That does not make sense. So the powers that be are the ones who are doing that. We must challenge these things.
Yes.
I saw Meredith's. Well, I was saying I saw Meredith's map. Now I've never been to that museum, and I was looking at the map of the museums, and I was going to ask her to take on her map that she posted and mark that museum on her map, because there are people who have never heard of it, and like me, and there are people who don't know where to find it.
Now we're talking
Yes.
about the
So
Civil
she
Rights
marks it on
Museum.
her map, then people see it.
Well, it's definitely real. Richard Wright was even there. It's definitely real.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I'm not. I'm saying she posted a map that showed the walking trail, but that museum wasn't on there. So I was going to ask her to put on her map so people would look to see where that museum is located. So I guess I know it's real. I'm just like, I just never heard of it before I met Meredith. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. And you don't live in Jackson, right?
Right.
You don't live
and
in
I don't
Jackson.
come there. I don't. When I come to Jackson, I'm coming for what I'm coming for.
Yeah. And there are lots of people who live in Jackson who don't know that it does exist. Primarily because wherever we may live, we have a tendency to take a lot of things for granted because we live there. But once we are aware of it, just like you were saying, you asked her to put it on the map. That is awareness, and that's bringing about a desire to want to know. But the fact is still remaining here about the trail. Those who do know it exists and they have moved
Right.
on with the trade
Right.
to go the other way. So that's a deliberate intent, in my opinion, to move everything over that way. But this museum is so crucial to our lives. That's just one example.
Can you all petition or talk to the group about putting it on the, what, you know, can you all petition whoever the organization is to put it on the map, on the walking trail?
Well, I'm sure that those who live in Jackson, I live in Madison, I can do recommendations, and everybody else
Okay.
who are aware can do recommendations. You can write a letter or whatever and make that known. I mean, just as the Civil Rights Museum has been widely advertised and well visited, and now back open for visitors to come in, that Smith Robertson Museum should be in the same type of predicament over all of these years. So anybody can make a recommendation, but the persistence in doing it is very highly important.
Yes, it is. The persistence is very important, because if you don't stay in the legislature, in all of the administration and all of the, you know, nothing is going to get done, because our people has to know about it. And whenever we do know enough about it to go and apply for it or recommend for it or any such thing, it won't get even in the legislature, on the local council, on the local county boards or anything like that, unless it is persistent and somebody has to know about it and present it.
Yes, that's right. It's the same type of thing I see regarding the Mississippi flag and the governor coming out, the former governor. The people have to vote. The people have to vote. And so God showed that the people didn't have to vote. The people are upset and you must take it down. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good example right there, that Mississippi flag. Just vote, 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 knowing that so many of our people don't go vote. And then hiding behind that. A real leader is going to do just like they did over there in North Carolina when the people in the AME church were assassinated by the young man. The leadership cried and they took the flag down immediately. And so those are the things that we need to be about, dealing with our hearts. What's in my heart is going to come out. How can I, calling myself a Christian, put my knee on a man and he's calling for his mama? How can I do that? I call myself a Christian. And then the rest of us are standing up there allowing it. We could have pushed him away, but we let that happen. And so God let the world know that that was going on.
But
we still have a lot we have to do.
Unfortunately, look what it took for all of the protests and everything. Everything is protesting, and all of the changes are being protested for. Look what it took to have that become. Had to take George Floyd. I can't breathe. Mama, I can't breathe. Look what it had to take.
Mm-hmm.
And that is unfortunate, but it has not been as widely protested or as widely since then. Because when he died, when he was murdered, that opened up everybody's eyes, and everybody saw, everybody paid attention, and everybody realized that we need to get up on this. Unfortunately, look what it had to take, George Floyd being killed. And it has been done for ages, but it had to take that particular incident when everybody's eyes woke and says that we have to make this happen.
Right.
And that is the thing. We have to make this happen. We do. And that's what the issue is. We have to make it happen.
That's right. Social responsibility.
Yes.
Mm.
I have a friend that's over there in Alabama. She called yesterday and she says, well, you finally took the flag down. You finally took the flag down. So she was telling me, well, it's about time you finally took the flag down. So she was commenting on that. You finally took the flag down.
Well, you know, and that too goes back to what you were saying earlier about understanding the people where they are. Many have gone, many have come back to Mississippi, continuing to strive to make a difference.
Yes.
Knowing that they could have stayed away and done much better financially, well-being, what have you, but going back, just like Dr. King said, go back to Alabama, go back to Mississippi. So there is something in conscience that begins to speak that way. And we can look and we can see all of the signs around us, and it looks like everything is a twilight zone. But then there is a call on a person's life to do something for that moment.
Yes.
And so if I'm on the outside, yeah, I can say finally took it down. But if I'm living there, it's just like Bishop Kruger got up on the air with the leaders and said before they took it down and didn't even know if they were going to, nothing has changed. So looking at George Floyd and all of the other situations, change is slow in coming, but we cannot give up. We have to keep being persistent.
Persistent, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But also too, given the epidemic at the present time, we are still lacking in leadership. It's just nothing is across the board. It's just one rule this way, and whether masks and whether all of the safety in one particular location or one city or county, but not all of the state is mandated to do all of this safety, to take care of yourself. Not all of that is mandated, and that is the lack of leadership. Washington down to the local, there is this lack of leadership.
Okay, I was just checking in to see how everything was going. Harry, how's everything going with your session?
Unfortunately, it's just becoming those of us who are speaking, comparing our opinions.
Oh, well, who's Harry, who's reading next? How many people have read? Huh? One person?
I've read.
Okay.
Mr. McGee, I've got to go because I'm expecting a phone call.
Okay, then, well, thanks for stopping by. So, Harry, find out who's reading next.
Have a good day, William.
Have a good day.
Okay. And Harry, I'm going to try to read before you. Harry?
Pardon me?
Sing.
I
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you next to that?
Ma'am?
I'm asking Harry if it's okay if I go. May I go next?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to read a poem that I wrote for the birthday girl.
Did
She
you hear
going
that?
on about her business, but she'll hear it.
Begin to look down to some food.
But I tell you what, I'll wait till Mary to come back because it's a poem for her. So I'll wait till she come back so she can hear me read.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anyone want to read next?
Okay, I will read this excerpt from the book, Walking with the Wind
Yes, ma'am.
by Congressman John Lewis with Michael Orso. The children were my cousins, Roy Lee and Jimmy Bo, Naomi and Leslie and Willie Muriel, about a dozen of them, all told, along with my older sister, Aura, and my brothers, Edward and Adolph, and me, John Robert. On this particular afternoon, it was a Saturday, I'm almost certain, about 15 of us children were outside my Aunt Seneba's house, playing in her dirt yard. The sky began clouding over, the wind started picking up, lightning flashed far off in the distance, and suddenly I wasn't thinking about playing anymore. I was terrified. I had already seen what lightning could do. I'd seen fields catch on fire after a hit to a haystack. I'd watched trees actually explode when a bolt of lightning struck them, the sap inside rising to an instant boil, the trunk swelling until it burst in spark. The sight of those strips of pine bark snaking through the air like ribbons was both fascinating and horrifying. Lightning terrified me, and so did thunder. My mother used to gather us around her whenever we heard thunder, and she'd tell us to hush, be still now, because God was doing his work. That was what thunder was, my mother said. It was the sound of God doing his work. But my mother wasn't with us on this particular afternoon. Aunt Cinnaba was the only adult around. And as the sky blackened and the wind grew stronger, she herded us all inside. Her house was not the biggest place around, and it seemed even smaller with so many children squeezed inside. Small and surprisingly quiet. All of the shouting and laughter that had been going on earlier outside had stopped. The wind was howling now, and the house was starting to shake. We were scared. Even Aunt Cinnaba was scared. And then it got worse. Now the house was beginning to sway. The wood plank flooring beneath us began to bend. And then a corner of the room started lifting up. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. None of us could. This storm was actually pulling the house toward the sky with us inside it. That was when Aunt Cinnaba told us to clasp hands, line up, and hold hands, she said. And we did as we were told. Then she had us walk as a group toward the corner of the room that was rising. From the kitchen to the front of the house, we walked, the wind screaming outside, sheets of rain beating on the tin roof. Then we walked back in the other direction as another end of the house began to lift. And so it went back and forth. 15 children walking with the wind, holding that trembling house down with the weight of our small bodies.
Wow.
Anyone have any questions?
That was dramatic.
The power of a child.
I think I would have been
15
afraid too.
children.
That was scary. That was really scary. Then, woo, 15 little babies and you, oh my.
15 held the house up based on the instructions
Mhm,
of the aunt. That is a beautiful story.
mhm.
And the
So
child,
is that his autobiography?
pardon?
Is that his autobiography?
Well, I don't know if this is, well, it says a memoir of the movement. I don't know if this is
Okay.
autobiography or not, but it's called Walking with the Wind. Walking with the Wind. And I've not read all the contents of the book. I just got to the very beginning of it. But that prologue, this came from the prologue, what I read, I was just fascinated by it. I just said, what? Look at this. I never would have thought about that. A house going one way because of the wind, and 15 children can save it, possibly. That was something. Walking with the wind.
Well, we're getting on 12 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and read my poem, and Meredith, she can catch it when she watches the recording. I'm gonna go ahead on if that's okay with you, Harry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, hon. All right, so I wrote this acrostic poem for my friend Meredith Coleman McGee. Her birthday is today, July the 20th, 2020. M for Mary. E for energetic. R for real. E, endearing. D, she deep, y'all. I, has integrity. P, thankful. H, heaven sent. M, my sister friend. C, she's confident. G, graceful. E, everlasting works. And another E for effective. Those are words that I have used today to describe the birthday girl. And when we all get together, I'm taking her out for some ice cream.
Oh, my.
Thank you
Happy
very much.
birthday, Meredith.
Happy birthday.
So what inspired you to write as you wrote?
Meredith, because these are words that I'm using to describe her. She came. We met because when she wrote her uncle's book, James Meredith and the America that I can't remember the name of it. That made him. I believe that's what it was. But that's how we met. We came together, and I interviewed her for that book, and we've been rolling ever since. I've met wonderful people through her.
Mm-hmm. Have you attended any of the Jackson Mall fairs?
I went to the last one. The last one that was back in February. So that inspired me to talk to Mary and then another friend to do our own book festival here in Greenville, which we had to postpone because of coronavirus, and look like we're going to move into a virtual book fair, and then maybe we'll be able to have an in-person book fair next year.
Okay. I may have seen you there, but at the time did not know the face. That's why I was asking.
Right, we met. We did meet because I saw you when you did your reading. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So we
yes.
met. We
There
did
were
meet. Yes,
quite a few
ma'am.
were there that. That was a very nice event.
It was. So Mary and I went, and another friend, she went. So the three of us going to do the Delta Book Festival.
Okay. Was that after February? The Delta Festival?
Yes, it was supposed to be in. It was supposed to be in May, and then we moved it to November. But we're putting together to do a virtual one.
Oh, okay. So you
Okay.
did make the festival. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good.
Right.
I'm enjoying virtual readings. They are very nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is nice.
Anyone have any questions?
You are doing a great job, Harry.
Anyone has any questions?
Okay.
Oh, she missed it.
Well,
Might
what
have
I
to do it
missed?
again.
I wrote a poem.
You
I
wrote a
wrote a
poem?
poem for you.
Yes, she wrote your birthday poem. Yes.
Oh my God. You gotta
Well,
I'm gonna listen to it when I do the rewind, but you gotta text me a copy of it so I can show everybody. Oh wow, that's amazing.
okay.
Well, thank you so much. And how long you been writing poetry, Dad? How long you been
Oh, you know I'm not a poet.
writing?
I just pick. I just move as I am moved, which is like not often.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Well, and
So I've written like 4 or 5. I've written like 4 or 5 poems.
hey, Harry,
Yes, ma'am.
did you hear that poem?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, what tell me something about the poem from your perspective.
Ma'am,
Tell me something about the poem.
it had letters that mean something.
Yes.
And
Oh, it was
that meant
Mm-hmm.
something.
in
And the
letters.
first letter was your first name. The first letter was for your first name.
Ew.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh wow. Okay, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. And Harry, who's next? I was gonna read before you. I was gonna read a few pages of my book. I'm just trying to see where I can get in at.
Vicky can go.
Okay, then.
Okay,
I
I'll be back.
am Lily Darling.
Mm-hmm.
Bullies kill joy, resist, Lily conquer. 1 in 5 USA school pupils are bullied nationally. Lily Mitchell, main character, Lily Mitchell, the main character, Langley Middle School, is subjected to harmful behavior, bullies, and negative forces of bullies cause Lily to abort, harbor the images of herself in the mirror, her bus ride to school, and her existence in school landscape. A new girl at school, Jeria gradually brings balance to Lily's existence, teaching her the principles of positive affirmation. One day, Lily pulled Julius to the side, a stranger from the butt end of a tiger fight. And all the way, in the end, Lily and Jerica save Julius.
Mm.
that was the prologue. Because okay, chapter 1. Don't let them see you cry. It is everything to me not to reach over and hit the snooze button on the alarm clock again, as it rings the second time. I am pretty sure I'll be late, so I'll decide against prolonging the inevitable, turning my back and stare at the ceiling again. I drift off to sleep momentarily, only to be awakened from the sounds of my sleep by my own snoring. I shift my body to the left side, my feet hang to the side of the bed. This Monday starts off like any other typical school day. I stand in my closet, contemplating what to wear. I don't care. Many times I tell myself, pick out my school clothes at the night before. I never do. Every school morning, I find myself back in the closet, staring at the same clothes, waiting for the outfit to to put itself together. Sometimes I pretend I'm the witch as I twirl my finger around, hoping to ignite some deeply buried magical power. My supernatural power even works, yet on myself, it is no harm in trying. My complicated my complicated process of selecting my outfit to wear to school wouldn't be necessary. I lived in my world free from judging. Picking out my outfit would be easy if I could pick my own shirt lying in the ground, my shirt jogging in my jogging pants, and my comfortable pair of shoes, slide ins. The process would be simple and comfortable. Just now, I like the way I see it. School already heard enough going through the panic trying to find outfits, make them going through the school and look thinner, almost as impossible. However, the same day and age, I didn't care being caught wearing the wrong color pants alone in the entire outfit. I really go on a pair of stone cold shoes and skinny jeans and all gray. Converse compliment joy and the unique sense of regain. Mickey Mouse, it isn't my sweats, slide ins, but will have to do. Plus, it happens to be my second favorite outfit. My heart pounds. It hardens as it normal. I start in the digital clock staring at the amount of time in my bedroom. I search frantically for my book bag and my jacket. It's only after throwing my clothes over my bedroom floor that I suddenly remember my mom telling me to put them both in my bedroom closet. I have inadvertently left them in her car when she took off for work Friday. After I pretended to be sick, although I hate lying to my mom, I just couldn't muster enough energy to endure another moment at school. I was one of those days when everything seemed over to go wrong. Before my feet hit the ground, I was already defeated. Days like that I wish I could sleep away just to escape prison inside my head where my thoughts kept me captive. though they constantly tell me that I am not good enough and convinces me my existence isn't important. Maybe it would be strange to do the day calls me not to forget where my belongings were, or make it harm and doing to keep harm goes on the way. And in the most important, in the most opportune time for lying to my mom and being sick. Maybe I'll have time to go on the bus stop before the other students arrive. I am outside with my books again and my jacket now. My heart goes from pounding louder than the African tribal drum sessions. To dead silence, my school stopped beating for the moment. I glanced at the gathering of the crowd and students at the bus stop. Everyone is accounted for, and make things worse, the twins who rarely ride the bus are in here bright and early this morning. Zoe and Cave are identical twins, brother and sister. Cave plays the junior varsity basketball team, and Zoe mostly kept to herself, usually usually with the novel of some sort of her hand. They're a year older than me, in the 8th grade. Both are pretty cool, but I absolutely hate when they decide to ride the bus instead of being dropped off at our parents. They ride only to catch the bus, on an average about twice a week. If I'm really lucky, less than that, obviously. Today is not my lucky day. The twins I have ever seen falling out, but when they ride in a bus, they sort of make my life a living hell, because their means occupy 2 seats on the already overly packed bus, and those haven't absolutely been mine. They usually mean that I am walking on the Green Mile, and the Green Mile consists of doggedly walking down the aisle of the bus, making one stop, drudgingly making a walk down the aisle and making another stop. The students at the other stop, if I sit down as I walk toward the group, the later moment, if I sit down and I walk toward the group to see on a mission, that the chattering of the other kids standing around, I wave my I wave my hand I wave my hand to greet them. In the same moment, I hear the squealing of the brakes on our school bus approaches. The finishing yellow and red lights, already on the stop sign, spring out on the door opens, and I watch on the other students on the bus stop to climb the steps of the bus ahead of me. And I can only hope that there is an available seat left. If not, I won't only have to hear itself absorb tormenting pricks to tell me I can sit down, but I'll always have to hear from them and go to the vivid details as why I wear some of the stuff that they say is crazy, but somehow it makes me questioning myself. I have heard that I am no fast sit down with them and would take up the whole seat. So now, when I sit down, I try to keep my body from touching whoever I sit next with, which is too difficult to ask because the Mr. Harrison on the bus driver likes at auditioning for a jig in the Grand Theft Auto. I almost been told that I think on that matter, which is important to rotate. And what Grand Theft Auto and and my pet left alone in a cat. I start showering in the morning and using some of my mom's Victoria's Secret to guarantee freshness. I always took my shower the night, but maybe sometimes I, I, I secretly bodily fluids. I secretly bodily fluids and make an odor in my sleep. Yes, incredulous, I know, but I persist slandering these bullies and make me extra measured. However, I quickly learned that a fresh bath in the morning and very good smelling perfume, Victoria's Secrets, is not going to stop the constant bullying and these alien dishes out every morning. I can call alien because there are no way to human to see them so mean. Again, the bully is the reason I wish the twins would roll to the school on their parents.
Hey,
They take,
Vicky,
yes.
Vic, I'm not sure how many pages you read, but you know,
Let me
if it's a
finish this
chapter
page.
book,
I finished this page and I
okay,
finish.
okay.
And to seek my own with someone who doesn't think making someone I feel lower than dirt's cool. That's the page. Okay.
Oh, okay, that's Lily Dowling. I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah,
That's a
Lily
good story.
Darling. Yeah.
My great niece read it
Mm-hmm.
last week in about week before last in 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
She
Yeah.
really
I
enjoyed
really
it.
noticed that the chapter is longer than I imagined, but I did read half the chapter, so it was
Yeah, we're supposed to be reading about 5 pages of a chapter to keep the session from going too long.
oh okay. All right.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And so anybody have any oh Henry?
Anybody have any
Harry?
questions?
Well, I got tickled about the bus driver. She tried her best to stay in her seat, and he tried. He what she say? He auditioning for his next job.
For the
Boy,
Grand Theft Auto, he's auditioning for the Grand
right.
Theft.
But it's heartbreaking, about how, like she said, she put all that energy into getting herself together to go to school because she's going to be bullied no matter what she does, and it's just heartbreaking
Yes,
to know that she can't just be a child; that she has to be always on alert.
yes. And that is the
I read the
existence of.
book.
Oh, you have? Okay. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have I have been bullied. So I recognize how hard this is. Because you have to keep yourself in control in order to be bullied, in order to
Yes.
maintain and
Yes.
survive bullying. So and to take
Yes.
care of yourself
And don't you know
yes.
there are some old bullies too.
Yes, there are.
There are there are grown bullies, and you have to check them with a quickness.
So yes, you do. You have to stand up and
Mm-hmm.
take care of yourself. That's what you have
Mm-hmm.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, put yourself in check.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that is what I
No,
had to
put them in
learn.
check. You had to be Christ-like, but you still had to put them in check to let them know I am not the one.
Yes, I had to learn that, and so having
Yes,
gone through
ma'am.
that, I have learned that. And since you
Yes, ma'am.
have to be Christ-like, but you have to put them in check. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking as you were discussing, it's very difficult at times when you know you're being bullied, especially when nobody knows it but you and the person.
Yes.
And
Right.
I'm
Right.
the thought was there about adult bullies because things are orchestrated to make it look like it's the other person when the bully is on the scene, to make it look like it's the other person and to trash that person. I hate to keep going back to number 45, but that's what's going on there in terms of the insecurities. And so everybody is the blame for what I have not done and what I continue to do. I'm going to move that from me and I'm going to put it on the people who are trying to make a difference. And so this bully concept is really something. It happens in all phases of life, but it's a bad thing. And when we can recognize that we are being bullied and we hold our own in the process, that's a good thing. Because then we don't put ourselves on the level of the person who is doing the bullying.
And
It's
also,
really very real.
also growing up, it's very hard to tell somebody. Like if you, it's very hard to tell somebody this is happening to you.
Right, right. It's very, very hard. And to see that a person reigns victorious through it all is a wonderful thing. Well, look at our race.
Yes.
We continue to be bullied. We were bullied back there during slavery, forced against our will. The bullying has not stopped. And so we have to continue to fight that. Superiority versus inferiority. They don't know anything. We know it all. What God is going to make like that? I mean, you just look at what God in love with his creation is going to make some superior to others. No God is going to do that. And so I know that God didn't make me like that, to be inferior to anybody. So this Willie Lynch mentality has followed us down through the ages. And we are, like we said earlier when we were talking, we are socially responsible for speaking out against these things through policy changing and all kinds of changes that should take place in our behalf, including those reparations that we have been denied.
Yes.
We have to, because that's a bullying tactic. That's all it is, nothing but bullying. Everybody got paid for but us, and we have been the ones holding up the country. That is crazy. You see, does not make sense. Keeping us out of the textbooks. And so we do have to write for the children and the adults to know. We came from kings and queens who ruled the Nile and measured the stars and discovered the laws of mathematics. And I could go on and on and on with that point. But it's important to know that bullying is a satanic mechanism, and it works repeatedly for those who give in to it.
Yes.
And those who don't give in, those who are caught in that and can't get out of that. You know, that's really very, very sad.
Yes, it is sad.
It's so sad.
And I want to, Harry typed in the chat, there's 2 more left. So I'm gonna go and let him go, because you know he's always last. I'm gonna read a page or 2 of my Nashida book. Oh, Harry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna read my 2 pages, and then we're gonna let you take us out of here. And I really thank you for stepping up to the leadership role and facilitating this
Mhm.
meeting. You had made it to the first grade. You're going to be something else by the time in a few years. You're already leader. Okay.
And he's up and coming.
Tell you,
Yes, up and coming, Lord.
leadership.
Rashida Vincent,
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State Capital. I'm not sure which paragraph I ended on, but I'm gonna start right here. Mama said the city of Jackson became the seat of Mississippi government 196 years ago. Andrew Jackson was a military leader. He was the seventh president of the United States from 1829 to 1837. He was the only president who was a slave trader, purchased slaves and sold them for a profit. Profit is the extra money you have left over after you subtract the cost. If he paid $10 for a male boy and sold him for $80, his profit was $70. Andrew Jackson auctioned slaves, owned slaves, made a lot of money, and lived in a very large mansion. He founded the Democratic Party, directed the removal of Indians in 1830, famous Trail of Tears, which forced thousands of Indians to march during the winter without enough food and blankets. Their march was called a death march. Here's a picture of Andrew Jackson. Uh, y'all see him? And
Mm-hmm.
a picture of Indians.
Yes.
This is a picture of the Indians. Is that coming up? Y'all see it? Oh, that's the
We
Indians.
can see. Mhm.
Playing ball before Andrew Jackson and the U.S. Army removed them from places like Mississippi, the Choctaw, Cherokee, North Alabama, and other parts, and the Seminoles to present day Oklahoma, which was considered a territory because it had not become a part of America yet. But then it was sold by the French to America. Anyway, the last paragraph I'm gonna read. The painting above shows Indian boys playing ball. Picture displays a time of peace. Slightly over 200 years ago, Indians were still enjoying their way of life. Indian boys love to play ball like we do today. Biloxi Indians lived in Mississippi over 10,000 years ago. It was many years came here. So I'm gonna stop there, and I'm only gonna make one comment about Andrew Jackson, and that is that our present city council has voted to remove the statue of Andrew Jackson. I'm not sure where they're gonna uh, move it to. I hope that they move it to the Stiff Robinson Museum or somewhere like that, so that tourists would and actually do a timeline showing which city council or alderman voted to put the statue there, and who was the governor, and what year it was, and who was the mayor. I mean mayor, and who was the mayor and city council when they voted to remove it, and some in a timeline about who he was, because his timeline. He was his family died fighting in the American Revolution. I mean, the timeline, the history, and all the things, which made him a hero to whites and made him a villain to us because he was so inhumane. But anyway, I thought that since that history, our city was named after him, that we should tell the history and also collect the revenues to have it told, at our museum, which benefit from the revenue to go to the city. But anyway, any comments? Oh, Harry. Okay, I'm through, so you can.
I'm reading Tiger's Tummy Ouch.
Okay.
Tiger was walking along the road. He saw a little rabbit. Oh boy, he said, dinner. The rabbit hopped away fast. Got you, said Tiger. Now I'm going to gobble you up. Rabbit was little, but he was smart. No, no, Mr. Tiger, he said. Not me. I am very little. I am very thin. See, I'm just skin and bones. I've got something better to eat, said Rabbit. You can join me. He picked a few white stones. See, rice cakes. He he can. How can I eat those? Asked Tiger. You just toss them in a fire, Rabbit, said Rabbit. When they are red, you gobble them up. Here I show you. Here I'll show you, Rabbit said. I know you will enjoy rice cakes. Now, Tiger wanted to eat the rice cakes and the rabbit. Okay, he said, I'll try them. Rabbit got the fire started. He put a lot of stones, which he called rice cakes. I've got to get lots of wood for the fire, he said. You have to eat rice cakes hot or they will spoil. Rabbit hopped away along the road. The tiger looked at the stones. They looked nice and hot. Oh boy, he said. Rabbit wasn't missing just one. Rabbit wasn't missing just one. And I and he gobbled one up. Yippies! That tiger got a terrible tummy ouch, and he never tried to eat rabbit again. The end.
Oh, very good. Can you give us a summary, Harry?
So Tiger found Rabbit, and he was going to eat him, but Rabbit said he was only skin and bones, and he found stones, and he said those were rice cakes, and he said, and the tiger asked, how do I eat them? He said you have to toss them in a fire, and when they're, red, gobble them up, and then he showed the tiger, he said he had to get lots of wood for the fire. He left. The tiger saw the stones getting red and gobbled one up, and then his stomach started hurting, and that's it.
Harry?
And There's
I read it.
220 words.
What you say?
There's 220 words in
What
this.
did you say?
There's 200.
Wow.
Okay. So Harry, you can wrap up everything and then tell me when you want me to end the video. Does anybody else have any questions of Harry?
Thank you, Harry, for that. I think I read it before. I'm gonna have to go back and look. What's the name of the story?
Tiger's tummy ouch. I don't know what this is, but it's
Tiger-
it's ACHE.
Okay, okay.
Oh, Tommy
Thank you.
ate. He ate too much.
It's 28.
No,
Yeah,
he
it's
ate
28.
one stone. He ate one stone and his stomach started hurting.
It was enough.
He had what now?
One was enough.
Yes, he ate one stone and his stomach started hurting.
Okay. Okay. All right. So give us a.
You.
Thank you, Harry. Give us a closing remark and tell me when you want me to end the video.
I don't know how to do the ending.
Okay.
Well, you were a fantastic moderator.
Just tell us thank you, and you'll see us at the afternoon session. That'd be fine. Say
Thank
that.
you for coming for this morning session. I'll see you next time at the evening reading session.
Thank you. And that, my friends, is the end.